Well, hey now, everybody. It's the Raw from 106.1 KISS FM here with my tag team partner in podcasting. Welcome back to the show, the Ramblin' One, Mr. Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning, and we are on microphones. We are going to have a better sound today. I do enjoy. There's a level of enjoyment I get from our house shows, because when we do a house show, something funny always happens. But it is riddled with a bad connection, and we're talking all over each other because there's a delay, and it's a mess. But I do find it endearing.
Yeah, and I noticed that for some reason my level is crazy low on the computer I was using at home. I've got another one that I used to use. I guess I got to go back to that. I agree that there's usually some sort of calamity that unfolds when we do house shows. My particular favorites are not so much the technological ones as much as your family feuding with you. Those are my favorites. But my favorites to do are the ones here in the studio, because I do think that I've said it before, technologically, with the equipment that we're blessed with having, we're able to sound better than a lot of other, even A-list podcasts don't sound as good as us sometimes.
Right.
So
right.
Makes me happy that you're here. Sorry we weren't able to bring you our SmackDown recap yesterday. We had some scheduling stuff going on, but we got one for you today, and there's plenty to talk about. And in my opinion, Jer, another example of SmackDown being better than the pay-per-view before it.
SmackDown benefiting from 2 hours instead of 3. That's the one big thing. I mean, we were off the air. You're like, I'm having a hard time remembering anything other than the big stuff. Fortunately for SmackDown, it's usually like 4 or 5 big things, and that's the show. Whereas Raw has 4 or 5 big things, and they have to then fill with like 6 dumb things.
Yeah, Raw has a lot of tofu, a lot of filler in there that is not of substance. But I will say this, it does frustrate me that some of these things, and this is a constant complaint of mine, could have been done on the pay-per-view, I feel like. I'm the kind of guy, yeah, I know we need to make our SmackDown special too, I get that, but you got Bobby Roode debuting, why not do it at the pay-per-view?
I normally would agree with that, like at a Battleground, like why don't you do that at Battleground? But at SummerSlam, they had enough going on. Like, I can't think of anything that don't make it longer, and they did everything they needed to do and wrap up everything. I don't know if there was room for anything like that at SummerSlam.
There are so many places in that 6-hour SummerSlam we could have trimmed.
Yeah, but they were never going to take their women's champion off the show. They were, the things that weren't good were things they were never going to get rid of. They were never going to get rid of John Cena, Baron Corbin. They were never going to get rid of.
I'm not even saying that, but I'm saying you could shorten one by a little bit. You shorten everything. You can definitely make that. You could have made SummerSlam a 3 or 4 hour pay-per-view without a doubt.
I would have been happy with that. That would have been good.
Yeah, I missed those.
SmackDown, I really liked SmackDown. Did I like SmackDown more than Raw? I'm going to say yes, but I'm going to say yes just because I really geeked out with the Bobby Roode stuff, even though I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with the yes. SmackDown probably beat Raw. For some reason, I'm trying to think of the big things that happened on Raw. I know they signed Strowman and Lesnar. Why can't I remember Raw?
Well, and then you had Cena show up, and then Reigns and Cena went against Miz and Samoa Joe, which was good.
Yeah, Raw was good.
But Big Cass got hurt, but that wasn't a thing that was planned.
Correct, yeah. Oh, and by the way, the big thing, you know what? I don't know if you're aware of this, and I haven't been checking my news sites as diligently as I have been in prior weeks, but someone told me, did you hear the news about Enzo?
No.
Enzo debuted on 205 Live after SmackDown.
Oh man! So now he's a 205 Liver.
I mean, they haven't officially said that, but I can tell you that Enzo was on 205 Live, and that is not a good thing.
Did he do his thing? Did he do his Enzo thing?
My understanding is, and this was all relayed to me by Travis, who was part of the show last week. Travis told me Enzo came out and did his thing challenging Neville to a match of some sort.
And Neville will kill him.
Travis told me this in front of Gavin. The three of us were all kind of chatting about this yesterday. Gavin and I were on the same page. Travis was surprised we felt this way, but Enzo's toast. It's just, this spells the end. It was such a good, fun run while we had him, but I'm telling you, if he's becoming 205 live, Enzo, nice knowing you, pal.
He must have really pissed off the wrong people, because he usually, you'll have guys that made people mad. Like, you look at the Click, most of the boys hated him, but you had those five and they were running the show. Shawn Michaels taking poops in people's bags, and
those are usually X-Pac.
But they were making money. And so
they had so much pull.
They were never going to screw with those guys because they were selling merch, they were putting butts in seats, and they were selling tickets. I hate to break it to the WWE. While I don't think anyone's buying a ticket to see Enzo Amore, I see more certified G stuff, more dumb head wigs than I see anything else out there. He is the guy that kids... That's all my son wanted the last time we went to a WWE show. The first time we went to one, Enzo wasn't a thing yet, didn't exist in his mind. It was all Cena swag. The next time we go, certified G hat. You can't teach that.
Yeah, and
he's making money for them. So for them to just say, you got to go, he must have really stepped in it.
So a few things about that. The first thing is, you're definitely not wrong about what you said. And like, Enzo is like, Brittany doesn't care about wrestling, but she knows every word to his, certified G, bona fide thug kind of thing. That whole thing, she knows it better than I do. And, she'll even bust it out, or like, she'll even say in real life, what do we have here? A couple of haters. We got a couple of haters.
Haters?
He is so over and he's so easy to like, but I will remind you, and I don't remember, we've had this conversation once before. I don't remember who it was regarding, but I will remind you, it takes more than merch, and it takes more than that stuff. It's a lot of different things that make somebody over and make somebody marketable and make them want to invest in somebody. It's not just one thing. And, for example, if John Cena were this way, if John Cena were a crazy good talker, which he is, and was crazy over, which he is, and selling merchandise like he is, but was resoundingly hated by literally everybody in the back, it's probably safe to say he wouldn't be the backstage leader that he is today.
Everyone says that Enzo is resoundingly hated, and I don't think that that's a lie. I don't think that that's hyperbole. That's okay. So I get it. They're throwing him off of buses on a European tour. They don't like him, but no one says why. Corey Graves gave some kind of, I thought, a dumb explanation on Bring It to the Table when he said, the guy you see on TV is the guy you get all the time. That is Enzo, and it grates on your nerve. It can wear you down.
No, I have. Well, I know a little bit about.
Being annoying is one thing, but it sounds like he's done something to actively make people angry.
Yeah, no, I know a little bit about this. Do you want me to fill you in?
Please.
Okay, so here's my understanding of the story. And again, this is all rumor and innuendo, but this is my understanding of the story. And usually, the stuff I read is usually there's some accuracy to it. So I think he was never really well liked to begin with because of what Corey Graves said. And Corey Graves gave a very diplomatic answer when he said Enzo is Enzo all the time. He's always on. What you see is what you get. And I could imagine that in large doses, that could be a lot to handle. So there's that. And that's just his personality. And then I hear that things really came to a head on this European tour because everybody is together all the time on these buses. And so Enzo was on a phone call or on several phone calls to friends back in the States and was being loud and obnoxious, but was also being very disrespectful towards the business. I believe doing things like maybe giving out finishes, not that that's, whatever, but just talking about things you don't talk about to people outside of the business, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns thought he was being extremely disrespectful to the business. And it's all like, all the strippers that I banged, and it's all I hung out with The Weeknd this weekend, and I'm texting with The Weeknd right now, and just being an ass. And Roman Reigns took exception to it, and he's kind of a locker room leader, and he kicked Enzo off the bus. And my understanding is he's out of the locker room. What that means is you change in the hallways. You don't get allowed into the locker room. And like they said a few times, the Miz is apparently the only guy they've ever welcomed back into the locker room. And,
wow.
And that took a long time. And Miz's story is weird too, but that's my understanding of where Enzo got his heat
But I
from.
heard that all you really have to do is, and Corey Graves mentioned it on Bring It to the Table, but I knew this before from hearing stories about JBL and all the wrestling court. You buy them some booze, or they tell you what to do and you do it, and then it's all forgiven.
Yes and no. That's a very simplified answer that doesn't make it sound like hazing, if you pick up my drift.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? You're going to be buying a lot of booze if you're trying to get back in. You're going to be buying booze for years if that's the road you want to take. Or you can do what The Miz did and just tough it out and improve yourself and make the changes that they wanted you to make, and you just eventually earn the respect of the boys back.
You get it back, but to buy it back would cost more than you're making.
My understanding is that Benoit kicked him out. He ate a piece. This is Miz. Benoit kicked Miz out. He ate a piece of chicken over a referee's bag, allegedly. I don't even know if chicken fell in his bag, but Benoit thought it was disrespectful. And again, it's not just a one kind of thing. It's a guy who's obnoxious coming in with a big head. Just needed to be straightened out. Benoit kicked him out of the locker room. And then usually the guy who kicks you out has to welcome you back in by wrestler law or whatever. And Benoit obviously wasn't able to do that after a certain amount of time. And then my understanding is that Undertaker eventually said, hey, why are you changing out there? Miz said, Benoit kicked me out. And Undertaker said, you can come back in now, is my understanding.
So it's usually the guy that kicks you out unless it's the Undertaker.
Yeah, it's a locker room leader. It's someone that everyone respects and looks up to.
Here's a question, and I don't mind putting SmackDown on the back burner to talk about this. This is fascinating to me. So let's say Roman Reigns wants to kick him off the bus. What if Big Cass says no, don't kick him off the bus? Now what happens? They kick them both off the bus? What if there are some wrestlers that say don't? If Roman Reigns says he's off, is he just off and no one questions it?
Well, again, I don't want to sound like a pro in this because I'm not, but my understanding is that it is extremely rare. It's like the death penalty. It's just like, you make sure someone deserves it if you're going to go there. And yeah, I'm willing to bet that let's say Undertaker as a better example. If Undertaker is going to say Enzo, get off the bus, Big Cass isn't going to say no. I think that they're going to use it for people who clearly deserve it, and it happens extremely rarely.
Okay, and then once he's kicked off the bus, now what? How does he get from place to place?
Boy, I don't know if off the bus is literal. It probably is, but I'm gonna guess that he knew people that were not on the bus, or I don't know the answer to that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not a fun thing, and it could possibly be that the bus was already there. It's just like, but you're not allowed to use it anyway. It's that kind of thing, It's just
sounds like he's not just been kicked off the bus or kicked out of the locker room. Sounds like he's been kicked off of Raw, and 205 Live is where you go to die. It's where you go to die.
No one's died there, and Neville, to be honest with you, has thrived there.
It's where you go to have me not care about you anymore. Maybe die is too heavy a word.
It's a huge step backwards. My big thing is we need to see what happens on Monday. If you want to add him to 205 Live, that's one thing. If you want to move him to 205 Live, that's the kiss of death.
Yeah.
So there's that. And yeah, I guess I'm glad that we talked about that, because that actually filled the time with some good conversation, I feel like.
Good. As far as SmackDown goes, what do you think? I mean, here we go. We have Kevin Owens and AJ Styles again. Sheesh.
Not only that, it's the same stip as the last one we saw. It's a guest referee kind of thing. I got a little bit of a kick of him trying to negotiate with people in the back. I kind of wish we would have seen a little more of that, because there was Sammy, which made little sense to me. And then I got the Baron Corbin thing, he was able to sweet talk him, which, by the way, it seems like he's not far behind Enzo. He's just lucky he weighs more than 205 pounds.
Yeah, he's lucky that he's like 7 foot tall. He's lucky he's a big guy, that if he just turns his attitude around, it'll be a little easier for him anyway.
By the way, I wish I knew more about the Corbin thing like I did with Enzo, but I don't. I just know that Corbin is like right behind Enzo when it comes to backstage heat. And I think I saw something that proved this. So I was reading that like they put Enzo in a shark cage because Enzo hates heights. They're trying to kind of screw with them. And I don't know if I buy that or not, if that's the only reason why they did it, but that's what I read. I saw something on Tuesday that made me think they were screwing with Baron Corbin in the back. So remember at the tail end of the show when Baron's the guest referee and Shane pulls him out of the ring and Baron Corbin took his ref shirt off and threw it at Shane McMahon?
Right.
Well, they replayed that shot and they replayed it in slow motion. And I felt that the shot really focused on Baron's jiggling belly. I don't know why else you would slow motion that replay of him throwing his referee shirt at Shane. But if you still have that on your DVR, you might want to watch just that tail end where he throws his shirt at Shane. And why would they slow motion it? It seemed only to focus on the jiggle.
I'll have to. I still have it on there because I'm only halfway through the show with the kids. I always go back and I have to watch the shows twice. So
and I don't delete until we talk about it on post to post because, like, for some crazy reason, I missed like the Nakamura John Cena neck thing, and right. I wanted to go back and watch it. So I never delete an episode until after we've talked about it.
So let's talk about some big stuff that happened on SmackDown other than the, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens 37.
Yeah. One thing really stands out.
Glorious. Na 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 la 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 la. Victorious.
The next theme song to get stuck in everybody's head is now Bobby Roode's.
That is a good theme song. That's a really great song.
A lot of those NXT songs have gone on to be epic, like Nakamura's, Balor's, Roode's. I mean, there's some real Enzo and Cass. They've all really stood out as being fantastic.
I liked it. I thought it was an interesting spot. I was surprised. I didn't know he was showing up, and then I thought after he dropped the NXT title, maybe, and then you mentioned it, that he was backstage. So I was waiting for him later in the show. I thought he was going to be the special referee.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That makes sense.
And then right away, next segment, bang, Bobby Roode.
Yeah, and he did a great job. It's they're not debuting him into a main event spot, which I'm sure it won't surprise you. I actually appreciate. I don't mind if he gets there. I just like when people get there the right way. A victory over, what was it, Aiden English?
Yeah, make him look strong over Aiden English. And they let Aiden English get a little more offense than I thought they would. Yeah,
but just start it. This was a really good first spot for anybody. I kind of resent when if they would have just debuted him in the main event. I think that would be a disservice to everybody, the audience and to Bobby and to the main event. Bobby's a guy I'm more familiar with than a lot of the call-ups besides AJ. Well, AJ wasn't a call-up really, but Bobby was a part of the show when I was watching TNA. I don't love him, but I certainly like him. I'm excited to see what he can do. I respect the guy. He's been on my radar for quite a long time, and I'm really excited to see what he's able to do on the main roster. I think
he can do good things, and if he stays healthy, I like his old school way of wrestling. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah, and I try to give everyone a pretty fair shake. Good examples I think include Samoa Joe. I was cold on him coming in. He certainly has won me over. Same with Enzo and Cass, where I felt I didn't know much about them. They eventually won me over. That's until they got to the point they're at now. Nakamura, I was excited about. I'm still waiting. I know everyone that I respect that knows the independents and knows the Japan scene. Everyone says Nakamura is the man. When am I going to see it?
I'm the same way with that. When are we going to get that? I believe I bought in on the hype with Kevin Owens right away. Took you a little while, but you came around.
But I'm always honest.
Yeah, you are. I bought in immediately with him, and then you came around. We both were like, what? Samoa Joe is not the Samoa Joe I thought everyone talked about. And then all of a sudden, bang, then he brought us both along.
Got there.
Still waiting on Finn Balor. I'm still waiting on Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, I was going to mention Balor next. Again, I'm not saying everyone's wrong. I'm not saying he's not a good worker. I'm just saying, when do we get it? When does this amazing worker show himself?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. There was another debut on SmackDown that I thought was interesting.
I wouldn't call it a debut, but I know what you're talking about, and I'm real excited. I was a big Shelton Benjamin fan.
He was great. I just wondered, what is he now? Do you think he's good now?
He wasn't an old guy when he left. I bet you, and JBL always used the term, just one of the greatest athletes. And when it comes to Benjamin, like, that was his thing. He was just such a capable athlete, not just wrestler, but like an all-around athlete. And
I'm hoping this leads to a Gable Benjamin feud and not putting Gable in another tag team. It doesn't make sense. If you're going to have Gable in a tag team, let him have a tag team with Jason Jordan. They were fine.
Yeah, I don't know where I do worry that Benjamin's going to get just the term is old-timered. Like, for example, the Hardys are the recent example of this. The Hardys aren't doing bad. The Hardys are doing their job. They come on really strong, and then they go back to jobbing for guys. Happened to the Dudleys. Dudleys came back really strong, wound up jobbing to guys. I think Shelton Benjamin's going to have that same thing. He's going to come on with a bomb, maybe, and then he's going to eventually just be jobbing. And I hope
it won't be a swan song for him, I don't think.
Probably not, but that's his role, and I think he's going to do a good job. I'm excited to see what he's got left in the tank.
Are you happy to see Shinsuke Nakamura continue with Jinder Mahal fighting the Singh brothers and moving that feud along?
I'm indifferent. I guess I don't have an answer to that.
I thought they made Jinder Mahal look weak again. I mean, they've got this big... I know he was a jobber before he was champion, and now he's champion. But if you're going to make him look strong, make him look strong. He's an ass-kicking dude. He's a big, gigantic dude. And they make him look weak every time I turn around. It's unbelievable to me. It's like, we'll keep him as champion, but we're not going to commit to making him a monster.
Yeah, there's been... I just wish... I feel like, again, Jinder was done a disservice. Jinder could have been better with the right build-up, with the right character, with the right writing, and he was just deprived that to be hot-shotted into a quick title run. I know it's not over yet, and I know we're already a few months into it, but it's probably going to go down as a footnote in history, like just a small blip on the radar. I don't think it's going to be as memorable as it could have been.
I missed it. I missed it when I saw it. I admittedly watched SmackDown for me without the kids late at night. And so I wasn't fast forwarding, but I was not paying attention as closely as I should. So I missed this completely. And then later somebody said to me, Dolph Ziggler still sucks. He showed up on the show.
Yeah, Dolph was there.
Was it good or did it suck?
He was just saying, I've got something planned for everybody next week.
I must have been in the bathroom.
It was fine. Yeah, I mean, you could have. It wasn't a long segment. It was probably around the third quarter mark, like right around the 3/4 mark. And yeah, it was. It got me excited for next week. They have. I mean, Shelton Benjamin returned next week. Dolph Ziggler returns next week. You know who I want to see next week that we haven't seen in several weeks? I'm not lost on Mike and Maria. I want Mike to do things. And I believe it's at least 2 or 3 weeks that we haven't seen either one of them.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're moving guys like Bobby Roode up, you're making even less space for them.
I still feel there's room at the table for everybody, and it's not the end of the world to go a week without seeing somebody, even a major star. I just get worried when it's been, I feel like I can't remember the only last time I saw him was.
Like a couple weeks. Well, we went, I don't remember seeing Randy Orton. We didn't see Rusev.
Yeah, because there's room at the table.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping that next week, because next week, AJ Styles is going to get a new opponent. The thing with Owens is done. Owens and Shane McMahon, that feud is cooking now.
Well, you just got me to remember AJ's bringing back the Open Challenge.
The Open Challenge. So who knows? I mean, maybe you're going to get your millennial booking after all with Bobby Roode, and I know that'll bum you out if he just goes right into the thing with AJ Styles.
I feel like they would have saved Roode for next week if that's what they're going to do.
If they were going to do the Open Challenge.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Bobby, personally.
That would have been cool, though. A cool way to do it.
Yeah.
I just hope it's not Orton.
I don't know if it's going to be like, I remember when the last time they did the Open Challenge, it was city specific. Had to be somebody from that city. Don't know what I just like the way John Cena did it.
Just anybody could show up at any time.
Open Challenge week after week.
Done. So, yeah, I don't know. It's funny. There was less to talk about than with Raw, but I still enjoyed SmackDown more.
Yeah, it was a better written show this week.
Next week, we don't have anything to predict, so we'll do a topic.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find something to pull together.
Right.
Maybe,
have we ever talked about tag teams? Like favorite tag teams, best tag teams?
You and I haven't, but we've done an episode on that, I think, with Eric and maybe even with Steve.
There are so many different topics that we don't need to rehash anything you've done in former post to post.
Something happened this episode that might be fun to talk about. Just least like wrestlers backstage throughout time. I could think of a few.
Yeah, I can think of some that should have been and weren't. So, yeah.
Okay, well, maybe that'll be fun to talk about next week.
Let's do it. All right, lock it in.
Dude, thanks I appreciate you making time today. Thank you very much.
Anytime. I'm going to go take a nap now. I'm dying.
Yeah, I've got some work to do here still, but there's a nap in my near future. I can promise you that.
No, I'll still be here. I'll just be at my desk.
Well, for my tag team partner in podcasting, the Ramblin' One, Jerry Valeri, thanks for tuning in. It was fun today. It was more fun than I thought we were going to have. So I appreciate it. We'll see you next week, either Monday or Tuesday, with either a topic or a Raw review, depending on what day we do. My wife said that to me after the first time we made love. It was more fun than I thought we were going to have. I thought you were going to say, see you next Tuesday.